I need to tell you about the biggest betrayal of my life. About how the person I trusted to help save my marriage was actually the one destroying it. About how professional boundaries mean nothing to some people, and how vulnerability can be weaponized against you. But first, I need to tell you why we went to therapy in the first place, so you understand how she managed to manipulate both of us. My name is Olivia, and I'm 33 years old. I've been married to my husband James for 7 years. We met in our mid-20s, dated for 2 years, got married in a beautiful ceremony, surrounded by friends and family. The first few years were great. We were happy, in love, building our careers and our life together. James works in finance, and I'm a teacher. We both have demanding jobs, but we made time for each other. Date nights, weekend trips, everyday moments of connection. I thought we were solid. I thought we'd figured out how to make marriage work. But about 18 months ago, things started to change. James became distant. He was working later hours, traveling more for business, always on his phone. When I'd try to talk to him about it, he'd brush me off or say he was distressed about work. We stopped having meaningful conversations. Our intimate life suffered. We were living together but felt like strangers. I suggested couples therapy. James resisted at first, said we didn't need it, that we could work through our issues on our own. But I pushed. I told him I felt like we were losing each other and I wanted to fight for our marriage. Eventually he agreed. We found Dr. Sarah Chun through an online directory. She had great reviews, specialized in marriage counseling, had been practicing for 8 years. Her profile said she believed in evidence-based approaches and creating a safe space for couples to reconnect. She seemed perfect. Our first session was on a Tuesday evening. Her office was in a professional building downtown, tastefully decorated with comfortable chairs and soft lighting. Dr. Chun was in her late 30s, attractive in a professional way, warm but authoritative. She made us both feel comfortable immediately. She asked us to tell her why we were there. I talked about feeling disconnected from James, about how he seemed distant and distracted. James talked about work stress and feeling like I was always criticizing him. Dr. Chun listened carefully, asked thoughtful questions, and by the end of the session, I felt hopeful. Finally, someone who could help us understand each other better. We started going weekly. Every Tuesday at 6, Dr. Chun would guide our conversations, point out communication patterns, give us homework assignments, things like scheduling dedicated time together or practicing active listening. Some weeks felt productive. Other weeks we'd argue in her office, and she'd help us navigate the conflict. I noticed that James seemed more engaged in therapy than he was at home. He'd show up on time, participate actively, take the homework seriously. I was happy about it. I thought it meant he was committed to fixing our marriage. Dr. Chun was good at her job. She'd validate both our feelings, help us see each other's perspectives, challenge us when we fell into unhealthy patterns. I trusted her completely. I told her things I hadn't told anyone else. My fears about our marriage, my insecurities, my deepest vulnerabilities. She created this space where it felt safe to be completely honest. After about 3 months of therapy, I started noticing improvements. James and I were communicating better. We were having more good days than bad. We even started being intimate again. I credited Dr. Chun entirely. She was saving our marriage. James suggested we move to every other week instead of weekly. He said he thought we were in a good place and didn't need as much support. Dr. Chun agreed. She said it was a sign of progress that we could space out sessions. So we went to every other Tuesday. And on the weeks we didn't have therapy, James would sometimes mention that he'd talk to Dr. Chun anyway. He said she'd suggested individual sessions for him to work through some personal issues that were affecting our marriage. I thought that was great. It showed he was really committed to growth. Looking back, that's when it started. The individual sessions that I thought were part of our treatment plan. But I didn't know that then. I just knew my husband was making an effort and our marriage was getting better. We continued couples therapy for another 6 months. Things weren't perfect, but they were better. We had date nights again. We laughed together. We made plans for the future. I felt like we'd turned a corner. Dr. Chun suggested we try going once a month instead of every other week. She said we'd developed good tools and didn't need her as much anymore. We could always come back if issues came up, but she felt confident we were on solid ground. I was so grateful to her. I wrote her a glowing review online. I recommended her to friends who were having marital problems. I felt like she'd saved us. Our last session was in early March. Dr. Chun congratulated us on our progress. She said she was proud of how much work we'd done. She said if we needed her in the future, her door was always open. We thanked her, paid our final bill, and left feeling optimistic about our future. 2 weeks later, I got a call from an unknown number. I answered and heard Dr. Chun's voice. "Olivia, It's Dr. Chun? Sarah, can we meet? I need to talk to you about something. Is everything okay? Did we forget to pay a bill? No, it's not about that. It's personal. Can you meet me for coffee this afternoon? I was confused, but agreed. We met at a coffee shop near her office. When I saw her, she looked nervous. Not the calm, professional demeanor I was used to. She looked like she hadn't slept. We sat down, and she didn't waste time. Olivia, I need to tell you something, and there's no good way to say this. I've been having an affair with James. I stared at her. What? James and I have been involved for about 9 months. Since those individual sessions started, I know this is a massive violation of professional ethics and boundaries. I know I've betrayed your trust, but I need to tell you because I'm pregnant and James is the father. I couldn't process what she was saying. The words didn't make sense. Our therapist, our marriage counselor, the person who was supposed to help us, she'd been sleeping with my husband. When? How the individual sessions? At first, it was just therapy. But then we started talking more, connecting on a deeper level. It developed into something else. We tried to stop, but we couldn't. And now I'm 12 weeks pregnant. You're pregnant with my husband's baby. She nodded. I'm so sorry. I never meant for this to happen. I broke every rule of my profession. I could lose my license, but I felt like you deserved to know the truth. Does James know you're pregnant? Yes. I told him last week. He's been trying to figure out what to do. What to do? What does that mean? She looked down at her coffee. He wants to be with me. He wants to leave you and help me raise this baby, but he doesn't know how to tell you. I felt like the floor was dropping out from under me. The therapist we'd hired to save our marriage had destroyed it, and my husband wanted to leave me for her. How long have you been planning this? We weren't planning anything. It just happened. Nothing just happens. You're a therapist. You know better than anyone that affairs don't just happen. You made choices, both of you. You're right. I made terrible choices. I violated my professional ethics and my personal morals. I'm not trying to excuse it. I just wanted to be honest with you because I couldn't let James blindside you. How generous of you. I deserve that. I deserve your anger. I just wanted you to hear it from me first. I stood up. You're going to lose your license. I'm going to make sure of it. And James can have whatever life he wants with you. I'm done. I walked out of the coffee shop and drove home in a daze. When I got there, James wasn't home yet. I sat in our living room in the house we'd bought together, surrounded by our things, our life, and I tried to understand how everything had fallen apart. James came home around 6. He walked in smiling, asking about my day like it was a normal evening, like he wasn't planning to leave me for our therapist who was carrying his child. I know, I said. Sarah told me everything. His face went white. She told you about the affair, about the pregnancy, about how you want to leave me for her. He sat down heavily. Olivia, I can explain what that while we were in couples therapy trying to fix our marriage, you were sleeping with our therapist, that you got her pregnant, that you've been lying to me for 9 months. It wasn't supposed to happen like this. How was it supposed to happen? Walk me through your plan here. He ran his hands through his hair. I don't know. I didn't have a plan. Sarah and I just connected. The individual sessions started because I was having doubts about our marriage. Dr. Chun was helping me work through them. And then we fell for each other. You fell for each other during therapy sessions where you were supposed to be fixing our marriage. I know how it sounds. It sounds like you were having an affair with our therapist while I thought therapy was working. It sounds like every improvement I saw in our marriage was fake. It sounds like you've been lying to me for months. I wasn't lying about everything. I do care about you. I didn't want to hurt you, but you did hurt me. You both did. And now what? You're going to leave me and play happy family with her. James was quiet for a long time. Yes, I'm going to be a father. I need to step up and be there for my child. What about being there for your wife? What about the vows you made to me? I made a mistake marrying you. Those words hit harder than anything else. A mistake, 7 years of marriage, of building a life together, and I was a mistake. Get out, I said. Olivia, please, let's talk about this. There's nothing to talk about. You made your choice. You chose her and your baby. So get out of my house. It's my house too. Not for long. Get out or I'm calling the police. He packed a bag and left. I later found out he went to Sarah's apartment. They moved in together a week later. I filed for divorce immediately. I also filed a complaint with the licensing board against Dr. Chun. What she'd done was a massive ethical violation. She'd had a sexual relationship with a client's spouse during active treatment. She'd used her position of power and trust to manipulate both of us. The investigation took months. I had to give statements, provide evidence of our therapy sessions, and the timeline of their affair. Other former clients of hers came forward with similar stories. Apparently, James and I weren't the first couple she'd done this to. She lost her license. Can't practice therapy anymore. She tried to fight it, but the evidence was overwhelming. She'd violated multiple ethical codes and professional standards. Her career was over. James tried to fight the divorce. Wanted to split everything. My lawyer argued that his affair with our therapist constituted emotional and financial abuse since we'd been paying for therapy that was actually facilitating his affair. The judge agreed. I got the house and a larger share of our assets. Dr. Chun, Sarah, had her baby in November. A girl. James sent me a photo. I don't know why. Maybe he wanted me to see what he'd chosen over me. I blocked his number after that. The divorce was finalized 2 months ago. 7 years of marriage ended because my husband fell for the woman who was supposed to help us stay together. I'm in therapy now with a new therapist, obviously, someone who comes highly recommended and who I vetted ostensibly. I'm working through the betrayal, the trust issues, the sense of vulnerability that was weaponized against me. The hardest part is that I opened up to Dr. Chun. I told her my deepest fears and insecurities about my marriage, and she used that information to help James leave me. She knew exactly what I was worried about, and she made it all come true. I wonder sometimes what she told James during those individual sessions. Did she validate his doubts about our marriage? Did she encourage him to leave me? Did she plant seeds that grew into our divorce? I'll never know. And maybe it doesn't matter. What matters is that she violated her professional duty and her basic human decency. She took advantage of vulnerable people who came to her for help. I heard through mutual friends that James and Sarah are struggling. Apparently having a baby is hard and their relationship isn't as perfect as they thought it would be. Part of me feels vindicated. Part of me just feels sad that it all had to happen this way. I'm not dating yet. I don't trust my judgment anymore. If I couldn't see that my husband was having an affair with a therapist during our therapy sessions, how can I trust myself to read anyone accurately? But I'm working on it. My new therapist is helping me understand that I'm not responsible for other people's choices, that I didn't fail, that I was betrayed by two people who should have protected me. I've learned a lot from this experience. I've learned that professional credentials don't guarantee ethical behavior, that therapists are human and capable of terrible choices just like anyone else. That trust is precious and should be given carefully. I've also learned that I'm stronger than I thought. I survived the worst betrayal I could imagine. I'm rebuilding my life. I'm healing. It's slow and painful, but I'm doing it. The house feels empty sometimes. It's mine now. No traces of James left, but it still holds memories of what I thought we had. I'm thinking about selling it and starting completely fresh somewhere new. I went back to the coffee shop where Sarah told me about the affair. I don't know why. Maybe I needed to confront that moment. I sat in the same spot and remembered how I felt hearing those words, how my world shattered in an instant. But I also realized something. She didn't do me a favor by telling me. She told me because she was pregnant and wanted James to herself and needed me out of the way. It wasn't noble or honest. It was strategic. She was clearing the path for her relationship with my husband. I wish I'd seen the signs earlier. The way James lit up when talking about his individual sessions, the way Dr. Chun would sometimes look at him during our couple sessions was something that wasn't quite professional. The way our marriage seemed to be improving, but James still seemed distracted. But I trusted them both. I thought they were helping me. I thought therapy was working. I was the only person in that office who didn't know what was really happening. I reported her to multiple professional organizations, made sure her violation was documented everywhere. Other therapists need to know what she did. Other couples need to be protected from therapists who prey on vulnerable clients. I got letters from some of her other former clients thanking me for coming forward. Apparently there were rumors about her for years, but no one had officially reported her. I was the one who finally held her accountable. It doesn't undo what happened, but it helps knowing that she can't do this to anyone else. As for James, I haven't spoken to him since the divorce was finalized. He tried to reach out a few times, said he wanted to apologize properly, that he wanted closure. I don't need his apology. I don't need closure from him. I need to move forward without him. I heard his parents were devastated when they found out what happened. They'd liked me, had welcomed me into their family. They apparently didn't approve of how James handled things. That gave me some small comfort. Sarah lost more than her license. She lost her reputation, her career, her professional identity. The baby she's raising with James will grow up knowing her mother destroyed her own career for a relationship that started in the worst possible way. I don't wish bad things on them. I just wish they'd made different choices. Choices that didn't involve destroying me in the process. So, I want to ask you something. If your marriage counselor told you she was pregnant with your spouse's baby, how would you react? Would you try to work it out, or would you walk away immediately? And do you think a therapist who violates boundaries this badly can ever be trusted again? Because I'm still trying to figure out how to trust anyone in a professional capacity after this. If you discovered your couple's therapist was having an affair with your spouse and was pregnant with their child, how would you handle it? Would you report them or just walk away? And could you ever trust a therapist again after something like this? I really want to hear your thoughts because I'm still processing how someone who was supposed to help us ended up destroying everything.